Hey everyone, welcome back to the De-Escalation Lab, episode 5. Tim Victorella with you for another episode, some more content, and some really important things to talk about. So I hope your Sunday is going tremendously well. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you are using de-escalation techniques. And I truly hope that you are just keeping a space for the clients that you work with to be kind, warm, compassionate, loving, and understanding. So let's get into some content. So today we're going to talk about angry clients because no one's ever actually worked with an angry client, right? It's really important that we have an understanding of what an angry client is, why they may be angry, and then a few different ways to kind of de-escalate that anger and to better understand why they might be feeling the way that they're feeling. How many people watching this video have ever actually had someone come up to you, scream at you, yell at you, tell you you're not a good clinician, that you shouldn't have a job, that you should be fired, that their family is nuts, you name it, right? We deal with anger every second of the day sometimes, at least weekly, if not daily. You deal with some kind of client that is angry. Well, there's reasons for that, and we're going to definitely deconstruct that a little bit to figure it out. Having an angry client is a fact of daily practice in health or mental health profession. We just have to understand it exists, and we have to find ways to push through it, to stay open, and ultimately to be helpful, make sure we're impactful to them. We always forget that sometimes, that we're there to help and facilitate help. So being able to be the rock, being able to be someone that is cool, calm, and collected, even when anger is there, is crucial. So not only can clients be angry, but boy, well, family members can be angry, right? Other clinicians you're working with or staff could get angry based on having an angry client. You could be running a group and everyone in the group is either angry or getting angry because of what someone is doing or someone is saying. I worked at a very large psychiatric hospital and I had to do some groups. I got put into the anger management group. So this group was just that, to help teach coping skills, to help better prepare these clients who have been, many of them, involuntarily committed to a state psychiatric hospital, to work on their anger and understand their anger. All of the clients that got put into this anger group didn't want to be there and denied that they had anger. So you can imagine what the hour plus long group session was like. So you never know what situation you're going to get put into, who's going to try to judge you as the clinician providing care, and who's going to be that person that just gets super angry and explosive to you. Clients may not be able to handle different situations. So that might come out in the form of yelling. I know right now, as a clinician on the phones, a lot of people call and are screaming, yelling, just blowing up at me. It's important not to take that personally, right? They don't know me from Adam. They literally made a phone call and I was the one that picked up that phone call. So not taking it personally is kind of a big part of it. That yelling that they're doing might be actually the only way they could physically, emotionally express themselves then and there in that moment. So you are going to be kind of that facilitator, and remembering we talked about it's not your emergency. It's especially true when you're dealing and working around anger. It's really important to break down those barriers with clients. So they're angry, yes, but why? We need to figure that out. We need to try to overcome that as best as we can. Anger is a lot of theater and theatrics. Someone's calling you or talking to you angry, acting out, being really abusive at times verbally. We need to try to dig deeper to get to the real issues and concerns of why they're angry. And that could be one of the most difficult things that we do as clinicians, is trying to dig deeper to figure it out. But I can promise you, if you spend the time with that angry client, you really try to build rapport, trust, have them have buy-in that you're a real deal and that you are there to help. With some time, and it might be going back and forth to them, but with some time, you will be able to break down those barriers. Okay. And that's really important. As professionals, we may respond to anger in different ways, right? That fight or flight, we just may respond and not even be aware of it. Some ways that responders and clinicians may actually interject themselves into anger include becoming angry themselves, pushing that anger towards the client that's angry because they're angry at me. Why am I not angry at them? They're yelling at me. I'm trying to be here to help. That's one mindset. They might completely freeze. They might just be like, oh my gosh, this person is screaming and yelling at me. I don't know what to do. And last, they may be super intimidated, right? Someone that is yelling and angry can be quite scary. But remember, it's not your emergency, and it might just be more theatrics and just their way to cope. And maybe the only way they feel people ever understand them is by yelling and screaming and intimidating others. So if you keep that mindset, you're going to have hopefully some good outcomes. That's a little bit about anger clients and why they might be angry. This is a video example of something that you might see via on the phone or in person. So this is an actor. This is not a real client by any means. And let's take a sec here. There is a little cursing involved, so please be mindful if there are kiddos watching.
All right, so why are you calling your mom saying I'm being a bastard? That's not freaking true. And I'm so freaking tired of your family. They're all assholes. Why they were even freaking born and put on this earth plane, I have no idea. They're nasty. They get into our business. They don't like me. They never liked me. And that's it. So get off the freaking phone with them. I don't ever want you to talk to them. I know they're your family, but to me, they're dead. Let them, yeah, fuck them. Fuck them all. Get off the fucking phone now.
So as you can see, that was an actor, and what they were portraying is someone that's abusive towards a spouse or a partner, being verbally abusive, name calling, making fun of the other person's possible supports and family, and ultimately demanding that they get off the phone. That could be someone that calls you. That could be someone that walks into the ER or the clinic. And that could be their baseline of who they are as a person or what just happened. Now they're going to walk in and say they're feeling depressed, they're feeling angry. And now we got to go into that assessment, rapport building, and trust building. So something that could be super important is to think about things to remember during crisis, okay? Just in general, this could be anger, this could be many different facets, but crisis. Being calm, you as the clinician being calm. Setting specific limits, very important for anger. If someone's screaming at you, yelling at you, intimidating you, you need to say to them, hey, I understand that you're angry. I imagine it's really frustrating. I'm here to help. Let's work together to get through this situation. We could go forward in two ways. One would be you continue screaming and yelling, and that's not helping you or me. Or two, we can calm it down a little bit. We can talk about the situation and try to find something impactful that's going to make a difference. Now, just by saying those few words, you're setting those limits, and you have to follow through with it. If they say, okay, all right, I'll listen, let's talk, but then they start going back to yelling at you, saying, hey, we talked about these limits, let's make sure we're working on those limits. So that's really important, setting specific limits, giving a person a set of options and following through with them, right? We just talked about that. A or B, what would you like to do? If you're in a big, large group setting, this is really helpful. If someone's not doing that well in the group, or they're being intimidating, or they're going after you as a clinician or other group participants, setting those boundaries, but following through. Because if you don't follow through, one, the person is going to continue acting the way that they're acting. But more importantly, others are going to see that and they could start acting out too. Know your boundaries. So in high school or middle school, you probably did that bubble exercise in gym where there was a group here, you start walking towards each other. As soon as you felt uncomfortable, you say stop, and that's your bubble. Same thing in the real world in health and mental health. Know your bubble, know your limits, know what you can take, know what you can't take. Having understanding when things are not going well. Someone that's angry, yelling, upset, you could be the best clinician in the world. They still just might need time to themselves, or you need to walk away because they are just not listening. So know when it's not going well, and always keep safety. That's number one. If you need to get more support, do it. If you need to back away from the situation, back away from it. It's really important to your safety, safety of others, and the safety of the client. During a crisis, we got to remember to slow that process down. The person in crisis is the expert in their life, and they know the tools that they can use to calm themselves back to that homeostasis level, that baseline level. Don't be so quick to fix that problem, right? Or the person. Just be where they're with them. Try to talk to them, try to help them de escalate and use their coping skills that they have. You need to be confident, calm, and collective. Remembering crisis is just a conversation, right? Negotiation between two people to get some kind of optimal solution to the problem. When you're dealing in anger, being confident, calm, and collected is crucial. You need to be able to be the one that's not yelling, that's super calm. The more someone's screaming and yelling at you, the calmer your voice needs to get. You need to remember that. You have to set the boundaries, you have to set the confidence and the calmness in the conversation because the client might not be there right now. This is the threat triangle. I developed this, and it's a very helpful visual tool when working with crisis in general, and especially anger. So let's go over it a little bit. It's a triangle, the lowest level up to high. So the bottom of the triangle is the low level. This is your everyday crisis. You do this work all the time, and it's not even a big deal. There's anger, anxiety, anxiousness, depression, frustration, family dynamics, life stress, possibly even the inability to cope. That's our low level. We do that, we do it well. Next is that moderate. The person is in crisis and needs support. They need a change to their state, their mental state. This could be an active PTSD episode, psychosis, panic attacks, or just being uncooperative and angry. Last is that high level. The person becomes so dangerous to the worker or others around them, to include other clients or family members. They might actually talk about physical violence. There might be weapons present. There might be a use of force or a threat of force. And that's really important. So remembering the threat triangle, just as a visual, the low, moderate, and high, and what your bubble is to try to overcome each of these. Maybe you're doing great in the low, but moderate, you need to work on a few different tools and techniques and help them manage that crisis, but be prepared to get more help and know when it gets too high to the point of it's dangerous. So we'll do two crisis practice together. So the first one, 25-year-old female arrives to an initial assessment with a mental health clinician. As she's checking in, she is told there will be a 20-minute wait. She gets upset, starts yelling, is tearful, and states, "This is not okay with me." How many people have experienced that? Probably a lot of you, right? So what stage of the triangle do you think she's at, and what things might you do to calm the situation? So if we're looking at this, I don't think she's high. I don't think she's moderate, possibly depending on your bubble. She's probably low. She's upset. She came here early. We're behind as clinicians, so it's actually our fault that the appointment's going to be running a little late. So she's just really frustrated. Maybe she's got a lot of things to do. She's got to pick up some kiddos. She's got to make dinner. She's got to go to work, whatever it may be. So that's just talking to her, apologizing for the wait, maybe offering her some water and just being there to support and help guide and facilitate, right? So that low level of the triangle. Crisis practice number 2, you got an older man coming up to the desk after leaving his appointment. He states to nearby staff, "I'm going to get this place bad." He states that therapist is wrong, just wrong, and I'm going to make sure she feels her wrong. He then states, "I'm going to love cutting her up today." He then goes and sits down next to the front desk and starts screaming. You do notice a small silver object in his pocket. What stage of the threat triangle? What can we do to calm this situation? So obviously this is escalated, right? This is probably a high at this point. He's made verbal threats. He might have something in his pocket, and he said he's going to cut someone. So he's making physical threats, and he's sitting down and not leaving. He's getting hostile. He's getting very angry. So this might be a time to get police involved. If there's a code type of situation in your facility, getting that code activated for behavioral concern, getting security, getting police, trying to keep the situation safe, trying to make sure you have eyes on the clinician that the threat is being made to, make sure they're aware of it, check in with them. Maybe this is the fella's baseline. Maybe he just is angry and makes threats like this all the time, but maybe it's the first time and we need to have awareness of it. So checking in with staff, Doing debriefings after something like this is very important. We'll talk about that in a few videos, but definitely high level. I don't think it's moderate unless it's their baseline and the staff knows them well. Very important if you're a clinician, you're working with someone that this is their baseline, having staff meetings about this, being aware, having staff be aware that this could be a concern is really important. So I appreciate your time today. I hope you learned a little bit about more angry clients and of course the escalation, right? The threat escalation. It's a really powerful, awesome tool. Feel free to print it, put it up in your office, share it as you need to, the low, moderate, high. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. We do videos as often as we can, and I love doing these videos. I hope you do as well. You take good care of yourself, be well, and remember, you got this. You have the skill set. We're just fine tuning them. Take care.